Hi, everybody. Welcome to our live stream today. For those of you who have never met me before, my name is Jeff Hilliard. I'm the program manager here with techKNOWtutors, a program by the Community Sector Council of Newfoundland and Labrador. And today we're going to be doing a presentation on understanding the vaccine passport. I know an awful lot has happened over the last, month or so, and I know for some of us this can be kind of confusing. And our goal today is to kind of make this a bit more easier to understand. And anybody who's not sure what it is they need or how to go about getting this app on their phone or getting their paper copy, we're hopefully going to be able to answer all your questions. As I go through the presentation today, I'm going to be making reference to a few different websites and links and things like that. And actually in the description of our Facebook Live video today, you should find the links, and I'll mention them when I get to them in the presentation, but I'll mention them there as well. So today we're going to learn where you need to present your vaccine passport. We'll learn what a QR code is. That's probably, for I think a lot of us, maybe the most confusing part of this. Until last week, a lot of us probably never heard of a QR code. So we'll talk about what a QR code is and what it does. We'll talk about how to download and install the NLVaxPass, which is the digital vaccine passport. And we'll also talk about the other options besides the NLVaxPass. You can get a paper copy as well, and we'll talk about that. So what is proof of vaccination? When we talk about proof of vaccination in Newfoundland and Labrador, what is it we have to show? Well, your proof of vaccination will be in the form of a scannable QR code. And I'll talk more about QR codes now in a little bit, but you're going to have to present essentially a QR code whenever you enter a non-essential service to get scanned to verify that you have been fully vaccinated. And it'll prove that you have been at least, you're fully vaccinated for at least 2 weeks with the Health Canada approved vaccine for COVID-19. And we'll talk more about that later as well. So there's two options. You can get the digital vaccine passport, which is called NLVaxPass here in Newfoundland and Labrador. Once you download that app, you can add the COVID-19 vaccination record. And then you present that QR code on the app where proof is required when you need to go into these non-essential businesses and services. Your second option is to print a QR code. You can download the QR code from the Government of Newfoundland and Labrador website, and you can print off a copy. And then you can present the paper QR code where proof is required. It'll work the exact same way as the NLVaxPass, but if you're somebody who doesn't have a smartphone or isn't comfortable using that kind of technology, the paper code is a good backup. So what is a QR code? What is this? For a lot of us, like I said, we might have never heard of a QR code until last week. So QR codes, QR stands for quick response. And they look kind of similar to a square-shaped barcode is probably the best way to kind of describe it to someone who's never seen one before. And when you scan a QR code, it'll allow the person who scanned the QR code to access information instantly. And they're used in lots of different ways. Some of the most common ways we've seen them used ourselves would be in marketing. It's really common, even in like magazines and print marketing, things like that. Or in this example here, it's a billboard, and the whole billboard is a QR code. And the idea that in marketing, the way it's meant to be used is, you want someone to go maybe look at a website, or maybe go to a social media page or something like that. So what would happen is you'd see this QR code, in your magazine or whatever, and it says, scan the QR code to learn more. You would take out your smartphone, you would scan the QR code, and you'd be able to go directly to a website or whatever it is that person is trying to direct you to. So it's kind of common in marketing. We've also seen it pop up in restaurants. Restaurants with COVID, maybe they don't want to be handing out menus and have everybody touching the same menus. So a neat thing that I've seen is QR codes in restaurants. Maybe they're just like on the table. In this example, a server or someone is getting the customer to scan it. But you would go into a restaurant, sit down, there may be a QR code on the table. And instead of having a menu, you take out your phone, you scan the QR code, and you go right to that restaurant's website, right to their menu, and you can look at the menu on your phone. And it's also really common in shipping. It's not unusual to get packages delivered to your door. Maybe it's Amazon, maybe it's from Canada Post, who knows? But it's not unusual to get packages delivered to your door, things that have been shipped to you that have a QR code on them. Now, in that case, you as a consumer, you don't need to scan that QR code, but it's probably being used in the internal systems for the company that shipped you that package for routing where packages go and things like that. I've even seen, driving down the highway, great big shipping containers, 53-foot shipping containers that have had QR codes on them. So I guess they're being used in shipping companies to ship whole containers. So that's kind of neat. Are they safe? That's a major question we get when it comes to QR codes. Are they safe? For the most part, yes, QR codes are very safe. Humans cannot read a QR code. Nobody can look at a QR code and just read what it says. You would have to be able to scan it first. So, QR codes are not readable. The only risk to a QR code is if you don't know what you're scanning, like if it's not a trusted source, like if you just come across a random QR code and you scan it, that could direct you to a website that may be trying to install malware or viruses or who knows what. So it's really important that you only ever scan a QR code from a trusted source. So make sure that when you're scanning a QR code, you know who gave you that code. You should feel safe and secure doing it. If you're not sure where that code is from, or if you feel kind of pressured to scan a QR code, but you're not sure what it's for, don't do it. I wouldn't do it. And in terms of the vaccine passport, the good news is you, as a consumer, you do not need to scan anything. You're just simply presenting a QR code. So in this example, you're not scanning anything. You're the one who's presenting a QR code that somebody else has to scan. Can someone hack a QR code? The short answer is no. QR codes themselves cannot be hacked. There's nothing that can be done to reroute a QR code or anything like that. So where and when do I present my vaccine passport? So the next few slides, we'll talk about where you need to present it and where you don't need to present it. So there's an awful lot of required places. And what I'm going to talk about now is something that we took directly from the government of Newfoundland and Labrador's website. We have the source there at the bottom of the slide. So gatherings of any size that are hosted at a recognized business or organization, a rental room, community center, or other venues used to host gatherings. So these are things like weddings, funerals, birthday parties, baby showers, faith-based gatherings. Kind of sounds like it's meant for things that are, a private gathering or what have you. Arenas, that would be hockey arenas and hockey rinks, things like that. Indoor gyms and fitness facilities. So that would be places like your gym you go to work out. Would also be places like yoga studios, dance studios, places where sports or recreational activities are practiced indoors, places where group music, art, dance, and drama activities are practiced indoors, including bands, choirs, dance, and music classes. Indoor entertainment facilities. So these would be arcades, trampoline parks, bowling alleys, billiard halls, golf, laser tag, indoor playgrounds, and paintball. Bars and lounges would also be required. And restaurants. So that's only for indoor seating. So if you're just going to go to an outdoor patio, I know it's October, so the time for that is pretty slim, but if you're just going to go to an outdoor patio, or if you're going to be getting takeout, or if you're getting food delivered to your house, or if you're going through the drive-through, you don't need to present your vaccine passport then. It's only when you're going to be going to an indoor seated dining restaurant. Cinemas and performance spaces, so that would be like movie theaters or the arts and culture centers, places where plays and ballet and things like that are performed. Bingo halls, personal service establishments, so this would be spas, aesthetic services, hair salons, barber shops, body piercing, tattoos, and tanning salons as well. Car dealerships, you would need to present to get in there. And long-term care homes, personal care homes, assisted living facilities, community care homes, visitors. This is only for visitors and staff. It does not apply to residents that are living in these settings. Some places where it's not required for school-based activities that take place during the day. It's not required for before and after school programs. It's not required for childcare, to get into post-secondary institutions, retail stores, shopping malls, public markets, healthcare facilities, including private health clinics, community agencies offering essential services like family resource centers or shelters, taxis and public transit, hotels and bed and breakfast accommodations, or places where government and other public services are offered, so public libraries, Service NL, or financial institutions. So really important, even though it's not mandated, it's not required in these places, that doesn't mean that these places can't take it upon themselves. So an individual childcare facility may take it upon themselves to say that, in order to drop off and pick up your child, you need to present your vaccine passport. That is something that they could opt to do. So just be wary of that, or be aware of that, I guess I should say. Now let's talk about the NLVaxPass. This is the new app that the government of Newfoundland Newfoundland and Labrador has developed. So it's an official government app. It's meant only for residents. So it's only meant for people who are residents in Newfoundland and Labrador. It's not meant to be used by people that are traveling here from other provinces or anything like that. And it's essentially a secure space to store your COVID-19 vaccination record QR code. You can also store other family members' records or other people's records in your NLVaxPass, and we'll talk more about that at the end. So where can I download this? You can download it from one of two places, either the Apple App Store if you have an iPhone or an iPad, or the Google Play Store if you have an Android phone or an Android tablet. It's free to download, and it can be installed on either a smartphone or on a tablet. Too fast. So in terms of what you need to do to download the VaxPass, the government of Newfoundland and Labrador has done a really good job of making a video. They did a far better job than I could ever do on what's needed to know to download the video, or download the VaxPass. I'm actually going to play the video here now for us.
Welcome. This video will demonstrate how to install NLVaxPass on your mobile device. NLVaxPass is the Government of Newfoundland and Labrador's official application for you to securely store your COVID-19 vaccination record QR code. You will require an internet connection to download NLVaxPass. However, access to the internet is not required when displaying your COVID-19 vaccination record QR code. Download NLVaxPass from the App Store for iOS devices or Play Store for Android devices. Type NLVaxPass in the search bar. When this icon appears, select Install. Open NLVaxPass. You will see a welcome screen describing the purpose of the application. Review this screen and click Next. Next, you will see a permission required screen. If you plan to scan your COVID-19 vaccination record QR code, you will be required to allow NLVaxPass to access your camera. Select Allow. The options that display on this screen will vary depending on your device. Select While using the app. Please note, if you select Deny, you will not be able to scan your QR code to add your COVID-19 vaccination record. The automatic update screen will appear. You have the option to update manually, or the preferred option is to enable automatic updates. These updates are important as they reflect the most current public health guidelines. The Add a COVID-19 vaccination record screen will appear. You will have a choice to do this later or add a record. Select Add a record. If you choose to add the COVID-19 vaccination record now, you will be presented with two options. Option 1, you can access your COVID-19 vaccination record online via the vaccine portal and upload your COVID-19 vaccination record QR code directly into NLVaxPass. Or Option 2, if you have an existing copy of your COVID-19 vaccination record QR code, you can scan the QR code from this screen. The first option is the preferred and easiest way to access your COVID-19 vaccination record QR code. Select Access your record online and you will be redirected to the vaccine portal. Enter your information as it appears on your MCP card and select Get Vaccine Record. Note that your MCP must not be expired. You will see three options for accessing your vaccination record. Add directly to NLVaxPass mobile app. View/download a wallet-size PDF. View/download a full-page PDF. Select Add directly to NLVaxPass mobile app. A prompt will display to open an NLVaxPass. Select Open. Your COVID-19 vaccination record QR code will import into NLVaxPass and you will see the message Successfully Added Vaccination Record from Online Portal. Your vaccination record QR code will appear with your name indicated below. You can select Show Details to view the full details of your COVID-19 vaccination record. Please note, you will only display your QR code as seen here to access certain businesses and activities. You are not expected to display the full details of your COVID-19 vaccination record to businesses. Businesses and organizations will use the NLVaxVerify app to scan your COVID-19 vaccination QR code to determine if you have a green COVID-19 vaccination status met or red COVID-19 vaccination status unmet. You will require a green status to access certain businesses and activities. A green status indicates you are fully vaccinated or you have an approved medical exemption, and the immunization section will display your COVID-19 vaccination record details. A red status indicates you are not fully vaccinated or you do not have an approved medical exemption. To return to your main screen, click My Records. Here you will see all your stored COVID-19 vaccination records. You have the option to store your family members' COVID-19 vaccination records to NLVaxPass by selecting the plus symbol. Once selected, please follow the steps demonstrated at the beginning of this video. For support, click Settings. You can access frequently asked questions, support, the privacy policy, and check for app updates. For additional information, please visit gov.nl.ca/COVID-19. Thank you for watching this video on how to install NLVaxPass to your mobile device.
Alrighty. Excuse me, I had to cough there. Alrighty. So I know they go at a pretty good pace in that video, but I just wanted to go over some step-by-step instructions, a real, abridged version of what's included in that video. So the first thing they tell you to do is before you start, make sure your device, your smartphone or whatever it is you're doing this with, make sure you're connected to the internet. That can be either Wi-Fi or data. So if you're at home and you're on a Wi-Fi network at home, or if you're out somewhere public, like at a Tim Hortons or, in a library, you can get on the Wi-Fi. Or if you have a data package on your phone, you can do this anywhere. Download the NLVaxPass from either the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. So if you have an iPhone or an iPad, you're going to download from the Apple App Store. If you have an Android device, it'll be the Google Play Store. It's where you're going to download. So you'll be downloading NLVaxPass. That's all one word, by the way. Make sure you have your MCP card handy, or at the very least, you know your MCP number. Follow the steps that are in the app. So basically, once you get the app downloaded, you'll just follow the prompts step by step, just like what we saw in that video on how to go ahead and download your QR code and get it installed on the NLVaxPass. But what if you don't have a smartphone or a tablet? Or what if you're just not comfortable using that kind of technology? You do have the option to print your own QR code. So to print your own QR code, you would visit the Government of Newfoundland and Labrador Vaccine Record website. And the URL is vaccineportal.nlchi.nl.ca. I know it's a mouthful, so we put a link to this website in the description down below, so you can find it there. You'll need to have your MCP card number and just follow the steps when you go to this website. The website looks just like this. This is a screenshot from the website. You do not need to put in too much data. You just put in your first name, your last name, your MCP number, the MCP expiry date, and your date of birth. I actually spoke to somebody yesterday, and they were somebody who, like when they were born, they had their first name, and their parents gave them like 2 middle names and then their last name. And they took them a couple of tries, but in their instance, they just had to put in their very first name and their very last name, and don't put in your middle name or middle names at all. Anyway, once you enter in all this data, all this information here, just click here where it says Get Vaccination Record. At the next page, you're going to have two options. You can either print a wallet size or a full page. So if you see here, you see on the left, it says View, Download Wallet Size PDF. On the right, it says View, Download Full Page PDF. The wallet size PDF, it'll still print a whole page, but it's going to just have a section in the center that has just your QR code on it. And it actually shows where you can cut it out. You can cut out that QR code. The full page PDF is going to include that QR code. It's going to be a little bit bigger, and it's also going to include text that has your vaccination information. It'll say when you received your doses and what you received, whether it was Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, what have you. So that's what's going to be on the full page PDF. The printed QR codes, both of these printed QR codes will work the exact same way as a QR code that's going to be stored in the NLVaxPass. If you don't have access to a printer, you're not sure, or if you're just not quite sure how to navigate this website, you can visit our friends at the public libraries. The NL Public Library is going to assist you with printing a paper copy. You can go to any library in the province, and they all have computer terminals that are connected to the internet, where you can go go to the website and request and download your QR code and print it at the library. If you're unsure how to navigate the website, if you're just not comfortable with doing this, you can ask a friendly librarian for some assistance, but you will have to, they can print the QR code for you, but you will have to give them your MCP card number and the expiration date so that they can enter it for you and print off your QR code. And if none of this makes sense, if you're still not quite sure what it is you need to do, or if you're just not comfortable doing any of this, the government has a pretty good option of a toll-free phone number, 1-833-951-3859. And again, that's actually, we put that in the description of this Facebook video, 1-833-951-3859. You can call that number. It's a service of the government, and they will mail you a paper copy of your QR code if you call that number. Again, you'll need to have your MCP card number before you call to give that to them over the phone. So to wrap this up, we have some frequently asked questions that I know a lot of people were wondering about in terms of the vaccine pass. So does the NLVaxPass or do these paper QR codes work in other parts of Canada? No, they do not. The NLVaxPass and the QR code is only meant to be used in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. If you are going to travel outside the province, you should confirm before you leave, confirm before you leave what that province or territories or country requires before you travel. Some places don't require any vaccine, records. Some places require other things. So you should find out what it is. The QR code is not going to be enough. You're going to need to have a paper copy, likely, I would imagine, what you were given when you received your vaccinations. Travelers who come to Newfoundland and Labrador, they will be required to show a paper copy of their home vaccination records. So they're not going to be able to come here and download the NLVaxPass or print a QR code once they arrive. They'll need to bring with them their paper copy, and they'll still be able to get into all these non-essential services with their paper copies from their home province, territory, or country. Do I need anything else besides the NLVaxPass? Yes. Everybody who is 12 years of age and older will need to show a second form of identification. It will need to be shown in addition to either the NLVaxPass or the printed QR code. So this is what you need. If you're 19 or over, your ID requirements, the ID is going to need to have your name, your date of birth, or your photo. These are things like driver's licenses, government ID card, passport, student IDs, things like that. If you're between the ages of 12 and 18, you'll need to present a piece of ID that only has your name and your date of birth. So that could be your birth certificate, that could be your MCP card, or if you're somebody who's between the ages of 12 and 18 who has like a photo identification as noted above, you can show that as well. How many QR codes can I store in the NLVaxPass? Up to 20 QR codes can be stored in the digital NLVaxPass. So that's enough for your whole family. You can download your children, your grandchildren, your parents, your grandparents, even your spouses. That's probably something myself and my wife are even going to do. I will probably have her QR code in my NLVaxPass, and she will have mine. And the logic is going to be, it'll just be easier than have one of us take out our phone and open up the app and scan, rather than having us each having to go through it every single time we go somewhere where this is required. What other information is in the code? I've seen a few media stories on this the last couple of days, and it's something that can sound really scary, but it's not really that scary. The QR codes contain 3 pieces of data. The first one is your name. The second one is your date of birth. And the third one is your vaccination information. So that's things like your date of vaccination and the type of vaccine you received, Moderna, Pfizer, etc. So while this can sound a little bit scary, I think it's really important to remember that you're only showing this and someone's just scanning it for a second. They're not recording this information when they scan it. And also when you're entering these places, you need to show a piece of ID, and the piece of ID that you're showing is already going to have your name and your date of birth on it that somebody's going to be looking at and seeing. So the only extra piece of information that's in this QR code that isn't on your ID is going to be your vaccination information, the date of the vaccination and the type of vaccination. And I can't really think of any way where somebody can use that information maliciously. So, I feel very safe and secure using these QR codes. I'm not worried about my personal, about any kind of safety issues with these QR codes. Should I share my QR code? No, absolutely do not. This is private health information and should only be presented when being scanned to enter a non-essential service. These businesses and these organizations are not allowed to keep a copy of your QR code or your ID, and do not post a picture of it on social media by any means. Look at it this way. Would you take your driver's license or your MCP card and post that on social media? No, you wouldn't do that. So don't post your VaxPass online either. Will the NLVaxPass work without the internet? In short, yes. It's designed to work offline. So if you're somebody who doesn't have data, you don't need to worry about how is this going to work when you're going places. It's going to you'll be able to pull it up and present your QR code, even if you're not connected to the internet. You will need to connect to the internet every now and again for updates to public health rules. The NLVaxPass will send you a notification when it needs to be updated. So you'll get a notification on your phone or on your tablet saying, hey, this needs to be updated. The next time you're connected to the internet, it'll likely just do it in the background without any kind of prompts from yourself. Do I need to be fully vaccinated? Yes. You are not considered to be fully vaccinated until 2 weeks after your final dose of a Health Canada approved COVID-19 vaccine. So you can go ahead and get your QR code set up. You can print your QR code, or you can get it set up on your NLVaxPass on your phone. But until you're 2 weeks post your final dose, it'll scan, but it'll come up as red, as we saw in that video, and you'll be denied entry until you're 2 weeks post your final dose of your Health Canada approved COVID-19 vaccine. How will this work if I'm medically exempt? So people who are medically exempt will be provided a QR code from the government. This QR code can be used on its own, or it can be scanned into the NLVaxPass app. And businesses and organizations that are scanning your QR code will not know that you have an exemption. They'll just see it light up green as it would for anybody else. When does this all come into effect? This is really important. October 22nd, 2021 is when this is all coming into effect, AKA next Friday. So you all have 1 week from today to get your QR code or to get your NLVaxPass installed on your device and get it all set up. You will need to present your QR code through either the NLVaxPass or the paper copy, like I said, once next Friday rolls around. Okay, so to wrap everything we've talked about today we've discussed where and when you need to present your vaccine passport. We have a better understanding of what QR codes are, how to download and install the NLVaxPass, how to either print or request a paper copy of your QR code vaccine record. And we've answered some common questions regarding the upcoming vaccine passport. So before we finish this Facebook Live, I'm going to open it up. If anybody who's watching has any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments here on the Facebook Live, and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. So we'll open it up there for a couple of minutes. Let's get a quick drink before I choke. All right, so far no questions. So I guess that's maybe a good sign. Maybe we did a good job. But if anybody has any questions, we'll give it another minute there. You can ask a question. And if I know the answer, I'll answer it for you. just give another few seconds there. If anybody has a question, you can feel free to ask. And if not, we'll wrap this up. Still no questions there? Okay, I'll call it. We'll go ahead and wrap it up there now. So it's okay if you don't have any questions there now, or if anybody's viewing this this after the live is over, don't leave a comment after the live is over. If you have any questions, you can get in touch with us. You can check out our website at techKNOWtutors.ca. You can also connect with us here on Facebook. But also, if you want to get in touch, you can email us, techKNOWtutors@cscnl.ca, or you can call 709-753-9860, or toll free across the province, 1-866-753-9860. When you call, just ask to speak to a member of the techKNOWtutors team. If one of us are available, we'll take your call right away. If not, the message will get to us and one of us will call you back as soon as we're free. So I'll wrap it up there. Thank you all so much for joining us today. I hope this has been helpful. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to get in touch with us at any time. All right, thanks for joining us.